Hey everybody, welcome to Homeboi Photography, and today, real quick, I just want to talk to you about a quick video that I had done about a year ago, but I was not able to finish it at the time because I did not have the skills or, the tools to be able to do the video at the time. So the video has nothing to do with travel, but it's something that was dear in my heart that I wanted to complete. It was a wrestling ceremony for my wrestling coach back in high school who had just recently retired last year. So I just wanted to just talk about the tools that I used to make this happen. So if in case somebody else who's a photographer runs into this, demand or request, hey, can you shoot this video for this ceremony? I know you do photography, but I need a video done and you need to know what tools you need. This is a great video for that. Whatever tools I had at the time, which I still use. For a microphone, I have the Audio Technica AT8024, and it doesn't have to be this exact mic if you're ever doing something similar. Rode makes some very good microphones. There's a lot of other microphones that you can use out there when you're on the go. My Nikon D500, and I'll be honest, I don't remember which lens I use, so I don't want to mislead anybody. There's a good chance I used my 35mm because that is the one I use the most for video, but I could have used a zoom lens. So I don't remember. I am sorry. I tried to check the metadata on video and there's no way to do that for film. So if anybody knows how to do that, please let me know. Besides that, I used my Manfrotto 290 light stand, and that's really it. So just microphone, camera, stand, and lens, and you can start shooting some video, especially if it's something where you're not panning left and right or just shooting the still shot for a presentation or a ceremony. Besides that, as far as the video, I use Premiere Pro to edit, and then it was very simple video. So transitions, I just used a basic crossfade for the audio and the video, and it worked out really well. There's only one part that you can hear the chop, the cut I didn't do a great job on it, which I believe it's the first transition, but that's really it. Everything else worked out very smooth. As far as editing, I use Neat Video noise reduction version 5. I have 4 and I recently upgraded to 5. So I know there's two main companies out there for noise reduction that a lot of people talk about on social media. I ended up going with Neat Video 5. And for sharpening, I used the Samurai Sharpen plugin, and I love it because you can pick and choose. You can select how much of the highlights and how much of the shadows you want to sharpen and include in the sharpening feature, and you can select how much of specific outlines of things you can sharpen and things like that, so you can minimize sharpening some of the noise and get the best quality video as possible. For color correction, I use Cinema Grade, and I really love it. I just bought that this month actually, so I'm not an expert when it comes to video editing, so it's something I'm learning on the fly as I'm building, as request and demand comes in. So Cinema Grade, after doing some research, was one of the simplest ones that I found online, and it had the best workflow. And for something where I'm doing long videos, music videos, or in this case a 23-minute video, I wanted to just straight up just have the most simplest, quickest workflow that I can possibly do. And so I decided to go with Cinema Grade, and it worked out incredible. They have an incredible website to teach you everything you need to learn about the program and how to use it. So I'm not human when it comes to learning things, so in 2 nights I banged out all the videos, which was possibly 50 videos or so. So I watched them all, and then I opened up the program, and then I realized I didn't capture as much, so I just reopened up the videos, and now that I know where the videos were at, I just watched the ones that applied to my situation and just followed them step by step as I did everything, and then just learned everything as I went. And so I was able to use the program the same week and be able to apply it to my videos and get going. So the simplicity in the workflow is incredible. So with that said, really, so microphone, camera, tripod, lens, definitely have some spare batteries with you. I always keep at least 3 fully charged batteries at all times in case I need to switch. When you're doing video, it drains out the battery a lot faster, so I definitely recommend that. SD cards, or in this case, my Nikon D500 uses the Q or XQD, so just make sure you have plenty of space so you can be able to film the video that you need to film, and hopefully good lighting. It's a ceremony, so I'm not going to start posting lights everywhere, so just make sure that you have a lens that you can be able to take in as much light as possible, or just set the ISO up and just hope that you have a good noise reduction plugin so that you can fix it in post. But definitely recording it as best as possible will be better than trying to fix it afterwards. Same with the microphone. I put the microphone on the tripod right there because I did not have an extension, and I'll be straight up, if you ever have a handheld recorder, putting it at as close as possible to the source will be the highest quality, or having, in this case, if this microphone, if I had an extension at the time, I can put it closer to the sound source so that way the sound could be better. The reason the sound comes out better the closer you put the microphone is because the signal to noise ratio is much more enhanced in your recording. So the further away you have your microphone from the sound source, the more of the room and the noise gets picked up, and the less of the actual sound source, in this case the person speaking, the less of the person speaking gets recorded, and the more of the room gets recorded. So the closer you can put the microphone, the better it picks up that person, and the less background noise gets put in that recording. So if in case you run into that situation where you have to, for some reason, keep the microphone away like I did, there are audio noise reduction softwares out there. Waves makes a very good one, and that's the one I used in this case to be able to reduce the sound. The one Premiere Pro has, and it's good, but it's not consistent, so I feel like every now and then the noise comes back and then it just goes down, so it's not a consistent thing, so I'm not a huge fan of it. And the one that you have to, the one in Waves, you would have to use like Adobe Media Encoder to be able to do that. So let's see, so it looks like it's the Waves NS1, so I'm going to just verify that so I give you the right information. So yes, Waves NS1. So if you go to waves.com, you can buy this plugin. Definitely recommend it. So Waves NS1 is what I use to be able to reduce the background noise. And as far as other audio editing plugins, I use Slate Digital plugins on all my music, and so those are the plugins that I use to be able to edit my audio on Premiere. So pretty much all the console emulation, compression, EQ, everything, mastering, mixing, I use the same plugins. I wasn't doing that before on my previous videos, but I figured out a way to use my Slate Digital plugins on video editing, so that's what I do now. So that's really it. If you have questions on this video, definitely let me know. It's a 23-minute video. I just wanted to just go over everything I used to make this video happen. It is not a professional video. I was not skilled at the time when it came to filming, and I just kept the focus mostly on Coach Can rather than the speakers. So, but I hope that you learn something. If in case you ever run into this situation where you're not a videographer and you need to make this happen and you need some advice, I hope this helps. So, and if you have any other questions on how to make this happen, let me know. I have a lot more tools that I do now. I don't consider myself a professional, but I love doing this stuff, and I know there's other people out there that love doing this too, so hopefully I was able to help you be able to propel yourself into doing more of this. Alright, so this is Homeboi Photography. Please like, share, and subscribe. Take care. Latest.
New legend now in Framingham, and he just retired today. His name is John Kanovich. you're up.
Coach Can doesn't care where you live in Framingham, whether it's north or south. You can wrestle. Coach Can doesn't care whether you speak English, Spanish, Portuguese, or Creole. You can learn the language of wrestling. Coach Can doesn't care how many cups of coffee he's consumed in one day at a state tournament. He's gonna have another cup of coffee. Coach Can doesn't care your height, your weight, your BMI, or your gender. You're the perfect size to wrestle. Coach Can doesn't care if you pin or not. You just need to score more points than your opponent. Coach Can doesn't care whether you missed your mile time by 1 minute or 1 second, a half a second, a millisecond. What are you gonna do? You're gonna run it again. Coach Can doesn't care. You may be in the middle of a conversation with him at a wrestling meet, a wrestling tournament, talking about something serious. He's gonna go see something over there on the other side of the gym and completely forget about the conversation that you were then having. Coach Can doesn't care about your cousin's quinceañera or that your great aunt from Tallahassee is in town. You get your butt to practice. Coach Can doesn't care whether you're the first in your class, if you're on an IEP, or you work on your day off. If you don't make the grades and be the best that you can be as a student athlete first, right? Student first, athlete second. Coach Can doesn't care how high his blood sugar may be at a wrestling event. Quote unquote, Deli, give me those Skittles right now. Coach Can doesn't care how you run a half Nelson, whether it's on the neck or on the top of the head. As long as you smile for the camera when you pin and you finish with your head up. Coach Can doesn't care that practice gets over at 6 o'clock. 6:45 to 7 should be close enough. Coach Can doesn't care if another coach or an alumni may be out of shape or just popping in for a quick workout. You can wrestle a 6-minute match against an epitome of physical health, someone who has been wrestling an entire season. No, get in there, you'll be fine. Go ahead. You can tap out when you're ready, but just keep going. And Coach Can doesn't care whether we win a close match or blow out a team. There's one rule in the bus ride home. There's no singing. And lastly, Coach Can doesn't care how many hours there are in a day. He's going to find a way to be the best teacher, administrator, coach, father, and husband he can be.
Everything you can imagine. And he welcomes them into the room, and he turns them into these student athletes. I don't know how you do it. I mean, you've got 13 and 14-year-olds learning new moves, a new sport, and getting them to wear a singlet, too, which is amazing. Now, I think I can speak for the majority of the parents to express our gratitude for the motivation, experience, knowledge, and memories you've given both our children and ourselves. 72 heart attacks, because that's what this sport gives you as a mother and a father. Maybe not, but Framingham Wrestling has become a force because of your leadership. You have certainly left your legacy. Erin, Logan, and Connor, thank you for sharing John over these years and giving up those Saturdays and those long nights so that he can be with our children. John, enjoy your retirement and your family because it is their time to have you. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure coaching him. It's been a pleasure sometimes critiquing him under the circumstances, and he always came out on top. And now the most important thing that he's done is he's become an educator. And every time you see his wife, give her a kiss because she put up with all this for years coaching. All I can say is, like I said, Balboni over there, John Kanovich here. Two legends, Framingham Wrestling, and hopefully Deli would be the next one. Thank you guys.
I was welcomed with open arms. One of the many things Coach Can has excelled at over the years is to make everyone who's part of Framingham Wrestling feel welcome. I figured I'd end my remarks with the top 10 things I'll miss most about Coach Can's absence from the corner. So number 10. The ways he would get his wrestlers to break through mental walls to get them to the next level. At one practice, he brought in 2 buckets. One bucket at the bottom of the stairs was filled with small stones. At the top of the stairs was a second bucket which was empty. He made Mikey Ramos run up the stairs, filling up and emptying an 8-ounce cup at a time until all the stones from the bottom bucket were emptied into the top bucket. That wrestler went on to place at the All-State when he wasn't even projected to make it past the divisional states. Number 9, the fact that he always put the student before the athlete. Coach Can has always instilled that your work ethic in the classroom will spill into the other areas of your life, whether it be wrestling, family, or work. I once came into practice to see 3 starters with their heads in their books rather than on the mat practicing. Can always strives as wrestlers for academic success as much as athletic success. Number 8, his ability to make relationships with each wrestler and his unique ability to make them reach their highest potential. Coach Can came to the assistants one year, explaining he had a kid who wanted to try out wrestling but was big into judo. Ken was going to allow this particular wrestler to miss practices on certain days so that he could continue continue training judo. At the time, I didn't agree with his decision and said it was setting a bad precedent for the rest of the team about commitment. Coach Can was adamant that once this wrestler got into competition, that he knew he would transition full-time. That was that wrestler's sophomore year. His next 2 years, he didn't miss a practice and went on to become a 2-time divisional state champ and Coach Can's last all-state champ. He was supposed to be here, but he got in a car accident.
He's okay.
But
He's fine.
he's okay. 7, and this is to all the guys who wrestled him. The pre-match speeches. Anyone who's had the opportunity to be in the back hallway 10 minutes before match time knows the feeling I'm talking about. That lace up your shoes, get your straps up, headgear on, and let's go dish out some ass whoopings. Number 6, the Shamrock Shake Contest. Each year our coaching staff would partake in a who can put down the most Shamrock Shakes from McDonald's. Last year I sent a picture to Ken with a large shake, and within seconds he had a reply back double fisting 2 shakes. It's up to a debate on who currently holds the Shamrock Shake crown. Number 5, the phone calls. Only few have been lucky enough to get the call. After spending 2 hours at practice or 13 hours at a tournament together, you knew the call was coming. It was like clockwork. At first I found it insane. As the years went by, I realized it's the little things that differentiate the coach who just collects the paycheck and the coach that is successful. That little thing is called passion. And if that immediate phone call right after spending an entire day coaching together, only to talk more wrestling, doesn't spell passion, I don't know what does. 4, it's excitement. Coach is one of the most competitive guys I know, but he knows how to mask it better than most. He's also one of the most humble coaches in our sport. He has achieved more in the state of Mass as a coach than many of the proclaimed Hall of Fame coaches. But he has never been one to boast or talk about the achievements. One thing I do know, though, is he is smiling ear to ear knowing Natick doesn't sleep well after a Flyers win. 3, the strategy. Coach was always prepared for battle. Ken would always know the words to say to our wrestlers when they thought they were down and out of a match. He would know how to work refs, get under other coaches' skin to make them lose focus, and have scouting reports of our opponents. Ken would be playing chess while most of these other teams are playing checkers. 2, his high standards and the integrity in which he held for the program. At the sectional tournament one year, after earning his second place plaque, he realized that there was a scoring mistake and we didn't actually earn second place. He had contacted the team who had earned second, and there was an exchanging of the plaque. Kent went on to explain the situation to the team the next day at practice. Not one athlete complained. They knew Coach had always preached that success is earned and not given. And And last but not least, I'm gonna try not to get emotional. The advice. Not the advice that necessarily was wrestling related, but the advice he would be giving me and so much others that he probably didn't think I was taking in, but I was soaking up every second. That same advice I will go to use this upcoming season and hopefully the years to come. And not only that, but the off the mat advice on how to balance wrestling, work, and family. Thank you for the memories, and I know the sounds of Framingham Wrestling will never keep you too far from that.
All of us here, know me, know Ken, know most of the people in here, because we are a family of wrestlers and family. And that's what we've always been right from the beginning. And Ken has passed that. I passed that torch to Ken and Jackie and everybody else that's in this room. Kelly, you're in that family. You know that. I've told you that plenty of times. You're the guy right now that's going to lead this team. And you know something? You have my support. I know you have Ken's support. You have everyone in this room's support going forward. So, Kelly, let's go on. You know, I first met John when he was a freshman at Framingham South, and those guys in Framingham North and South were going to merge in '91. In '90, Ken came over, Jackie and Mikey practiced with us for almost the whole year, and we got better and better and better. And then in '91, we became a team, and then we won three straight sectional titles out of Framingham, where we came out of nowhere really, and built the team. We put 5 finalists in that year, three champs, and that was a great accomplishment. Kim was part of that team. He was a main ingredient. He was captain of the team that won the states, the all states, and everything. He always had to outdo me. I had 4 sectional titles. He's got 6. I had a state title. He had to get a state title. I had an all-state title, and he had to get the all-state title. He had the New England champ, Mr. Flannery, right in the middle. Nick, take up out. 42 for being one for Framingham. And you always had to outdo it. And I coached 17 years. He had to coach 19 years. Right? And I said, you know something? It reminds me something like a relationship in Star Wars with Yoda and Luke Skywalker. And I was Yoda, short, not too much hair, and Cam was like Luke Skywalker. He was tall, nice looking, young, had to take it. John took this program beyond this galaxy. It shows, the turnout here shows how much Ken means to this program and has meant to this program. And one of the things that I'll miss the most, and Deli hit on it before, is those phone calls after. And it kind of reminds me of, like I said before, it's like Yoda and Luke Skywalker calling after and saying, "Dan, what do you think? What do we do? And this and that." But these were always great conversations, and I'll miss those, Ken. That's probably the biggest thing that I'll miss this year. So Deli, make a phone call every now and then. But in closing, we are fortunate to be part of what John has brought to the table here, and been part of his life. And Aaron, you've given up part of that to all these people here. And you will be dearly missed, like Star Wars. You will be like Luke Skywalker to me for Framingham Wrestling. But you know what? There's always sequels to Star Wars. Ken, I love you. A toast to Ken. Love you, Ken.
When I think about Framingham High School Wrestling, it's probably the biggest family that I've ever seen. And you talk about legends. I mean, it just goes down the road, starting with Gordy Wynn. Gordy was a big part of my life when I was a senior in high school, slapping me in the face, getting me ready for matches. And Jackie Connery, allowing me to better myself by not only wrestling at my practice, but going to Framingham High practices at 4 o'clock and wrestling all the best of the best in the room. Framingham, to me, was always a powerhouse, and it was always a a family of people that have always stuck together and always believed in each other and always worked hard to make everybody around them better. And it didn't matter who it was, as long as you were part of that family, you were in. When it started with the Rins, right, all the way to the Connerys, the Balbonis, to Kanovich. I mean, it's just an amazing group, like, for people to stick together and fight for each other, be there for each other, and guide each other to make this program what it is today. And now Delhi having that opportunity is amazing. All right, what you guys have is amazing. You have probably one of the best families, and I probably wouldn't be where I am today without Framingham High Wrestling. No doubt in my mind. I've had the opportunity, like, they said that I coached like Jackie Connery gave me the first opportunity right out of high school to coach. That was like 1990. I was an '89 state finalist, and I probably wouldn't have gotten there if Jackie Connery and Gordy and those guys took me under their wing and slapped the shit out of me. No, but seriously, slapped the shit out of me, made me realize that, like, I could be anything. Like, I am who I am today because of wrestling. Like, I can fight any challenge. I can overcome anything in my life because of this sport. And it's because of these people, these mentors that made this special. And what you guys have is so special. You have no idea how special it really is. And the way you all come together, right, and as a family and stick together, right, and support each other is what makes Framingham Wrestling special. You know, for me, you know, and it's like it goes full circle, because for me, I got to coach Cam as a freshman. And I'll never forget the days when Baden, you know, Cam was only like maybe 75, 80 pounds, 90 pounds, a little stick.
He was.
And he was so small, but you know what, he was a fighter. And he would wrestle off of that 100-pound weight class, 100-pound, or was it 107? What's it, 100?
It was 100
100-pound weight class. And it didn't matter that this kid was bigger than him. He would wrestle him every time, and he would lose, and he'd roll out of he'd be like, oh, he'd be out of the room, I quit, and I'd chase him out of the room. And I'm like, Ken, you're gonna be great. You're gonna be awesome. Stick to it, you're too light. We fought, and the memories I shared with Cam was taking him in the off season, driving him to Papagino's to feed him pizza, so I could get him to make that weight class so he could compete. You know what I mean? So, and we did those things. And what's crazy is that I got to spend all those times, and as the times, you know, after the merger, I kind of lost sight of Framingham, but I was still around after 5 or 6 years when Ken came back from college. He got into the high school. He asked me to be the youth coach, so I was a youth wrestling coach for Framingham High School for a few years. And at that time in my life, I was so nervous because I loved wrestling. I love, like, what you all did for me is why I'm here today, giving back to all of the wrestlers that are out there today. And Cam was my favorite. Cam came back, became a coach, and I was into coaching, but I was kind of nervous about it. And if there was one person that ever believed in me and that guided me to be the coach that I am today, all right? And I know I coached with Jackie, and I know I coached with all these others, but this guy, John Canovich, took me under his wing. He took me with Summit. This is how I got involved with wrestling and the club, off-season club, which I'm still doing today, 25 years later. Took me under his wing. I've had the privilege of coaching with all of these young, fine student athletes, Johnny Doe, and I even got to see all of you guys wrestle and on the off-season and during the season, and it was all because this guy gave me the opportunity to stand by his side. And it's funny because I look at him as my mentor. Not only did I have Jackie, Balboni, and all these guys, but in the end, it was the guy that I coached that turned around and gave back to me and guided me. And I ended up turning it, starting Metro West United Wrestling, and I started doing War Dogs Wrestling Club and opening up. I kept his dream alive by making it bigger than it would ever be. And all I have to say is, I can't thank you all, Framingham, Jackie, Balboni, Tony LaCroix, all of you, enough for everything you brought to me and given me to make my life the way it is today. So, thank you.
I just want to say thanks to everyone. It's such a treat. Thanks for everyone to put this together. My family for being here. My wife, Janine, Eric, everyone who had any.
Your mom will put up with everything.
Yeah, my mother.
I forgot to mention I
had to witness the dark days of cutting weight and being cranky, and
Your junior year was awful.
so was mine. My junior year was awful. But all I can say is that there's no bigger fan of Framingham Wrestling than me, and it's because of Jackie, Terry, Danny, Mike Connery, who's not here, Walter, Gordy. You guys made me obsessively passionate about something in a way that I'd never been obsessive over. And all I've been doing for the past 18 years is just continuing that and passing on what is great. Our sport is great. Everyone should wrestle. And I tell this, and so it's really been a no-brainer to me. Just feel like, hey, let's continue this. I benefited so much, and I wanted everyone to experience it. And really, there's no better coaches than those guys there. I'm very fortunate. I'm just continuing what they were doing, and I felt obligated to do that.
You're the new legend, though. Deli's got a big pocket.
I want to present a plaque that we had made. It says, presented to Coach Kanovich in recognition and appreciation for your many years of effort and selfless contributions towards the success of Framingham Wrestling. We couldn't find your losses, but no one cares about that. But we did find out he has 266 career wins. He won a state championship as a team in 2009, which a lot of members are here tonight. He had coached sectional championships in 06, 07, 08, 09, 2012, and 2015. Bay State Terry champions in 09, 14, and this past season. So, Coach Can.
If you have one, please raise a glass. To the future of Flyers Wrestling, to all of you who made it out tonight, and most importantly, to Coach Can. Cheers!
All you guys that wrestled on the can, you guys gotta stay focused on wrestling, right? If you ever pick up a basketball after practice, I can't even imagine what would have happened to you guys. I can't even. But it goes back to Ken wanting to be a better athlete. That's what he just told me over there a little while ago, but I can't believe it.